The rest of the test will be factoring. Here's one I would use probably the AC method and take 10 times 21, which is 210. Then I would factor 210. And you can go to your calculator and do y equals 210 divided by x if you need to find all the factors. I'm going to go over here and I see this is a plus. So I'm going to therefore add a plus all of them together until I can figure out. And notice which one makes the middle numbers are 15 and 14. So what I do is I make a parentheses, my x with the 15 and the 14 with a space, and the larger number will always match the middle sign, so it has to be negative. And if it's a positive, that means they have to be the same. Because the only way I can get a positive answer is if they're negative times negative or positive times positive. Now, obviously 15 times 14 is not 21, but now what I need to do is divide them by the 10 that I multiplied by. Now, each of these will reduce, so 15 and 10 are reduced to 3 halves. 14 over 7 reduces to 7/5. And so what I'm going to do now is take this 2, and I'm going to move it. So I'm going to basically move, if I can find my little, there it is. I'm going to move the 2 in front and the 5 in front, and there's my factor. So 28 factors to that using the AC method, or MF darn, like the picture of my family farm. Here, this is a perfect difference of squares. They're both square rootables. The square root of 81 is 9. You got an x, and 25 is 5. Add a y, but one will be positive and one will be negative. That was a difference of squares. So here, see the picture of Napoleon? We're going to do our divide and conquer. There's nothing common to all of them. So I'm going to look at just half of it. What's common to 9x cubed and 36x squared? And that would be a 9x squared, which means it would leave me an x minus 4. Well, if I have x minus 4 here, I have to have an x minus 4 here, remember? And now what I need to do is this here. What would I multiply by x to get a negative x? Oh, that'd be a negative 1. And notice negative 1 times x and negative 1 times negative 4 will make those positive. So therefore my answer will be x minus 4 times 9x squared minus 1. Except this will factor further because this is both square rootable, difference of squares. 3x times 3x, 1, 1. You got to be careful about that. So here we have a 3x plus 1 times 3x minus 1 times x minus 4. There it's factored completely. And a key hint here is completely, indicating you probably have to do 2 types of factoring. That's a good hint for that. So factor the trinomials on this one. There's no a term. There's 3, so I'm just going to factor 24. It's a minus, so I'm going to, now which one of those makes the middle one, which is 6 and 4. So notice I made my parentheses, x with the 6, x with the 4. The larger number always matches this, so 6 has to be positive. And the only way I can get a negative is if I multiply a positive times a negative, so that makes that one a negative. So 31 factors to x plus 6 times x minus 4. 32 does this here. Notice, kind of gave away something here that shouldn't pop up so quick. Got a picture of Muhammad Ali. There's a greatest common factor. As you can see here, first thing I might want to do is rewrite it where they're all even, and I divided them all by a negative 3. And the reason I chose negative 3 is I don't like for this number here to be a negative when I do my factoring. So I divided them all by negative 3 and I wrote that factor out here. Now I'm going to use MF darn and take 6 times 5, or the AC method, to see if that factors. And the factors of 30 are those there. And like I said, you can go to your calculator, do 30 divided by x, and the y equals. It is a plus here. Not looking up there, I'm looking at this one. So I'm going to put pluses there, and that's what they equal. And basically 15 and 2 make the 17. So I'm going to have, notice I kept that 3 on the outside, an x with the 15, x with the 2. The larger number will always match this middle sign here. I'm looking at this one, so it's positive. And the 2 is positive because they're all positive. And then because I have a 6 here, I can't see that 6 there, I got to now divide it by the 6 that I multiplied by to make the 30. And they each will reduce to that. 15 over 6, we reduce 5 halves. 2 6 1/3. And don't forget to like to move it. Okay? So I want to move the 2 in front and the 3 in front, and now it's factored. There's my 3, 5x plus 2, 3x plus 1, and don't forget the 3. Alright? That would be the answer to 32. Now notice it says completely, so that means there's probably going to be 2 steps. So first off, I'd look up here and I can definitely see something common to both of these. So, and they're both divisible by 2. And if I divide them all by 2, I get 343x cubed minus 8 cubed, which, if you remember our difference of squares, 343 cube root is 7, 8's cube root is 2. So that means I'm going to have, in a sense, this here will be a 7x and a 2y, and it's a minus because it's a minus there. That means all these here will be pluses. 7x times 7x is 49x squared. Negative 2y times negative 2y is the 4y squared. And then multiply these together, but just make it a positive. Now, if that had been a plus, that would have been a plus here, and it would have been a minus there. Just foreshadowing there. I'm not sure which one's on the test. That was a cubic. Here we have another one. I might do this here. That's up there to remind people on your paper, change it to H75. So what I'm going to do is this, divide them all by 7. And now I have a perfect cubic one again. And this is the one where they're positive. So I'm going to keep that. The x cubed would just be an x. But notice 125, the cube root is 5. But notice this time it's x plus 5y. X times x is x squared. 5y times 5y is 25y squared. And this time the x times 5y is a negative. There's always going to be just one negative in these. Notice there's only one negative on the right side no matter which way you do these. Alright? And then the last one, the synthetic division for our factoring. I have it set up here. Actually, I'm not using synthetic, I guess. What times x equals x cubed is x squared, and notice it's lined up over this. So now then I'm going to take x squared times each of those, but then don't forget you have to subtract both of them. That one cancels, and negative 3 minus negative 2 makes that like a plus 2, makes negative 1. And then you got to do a little Johnny Cash and bring it down, down, down. There we go. There's our Johnny Cash, bringing it down. So what would I multiply by x to get negative x squared? Well, that would be a negative x. So then if I take negative x times x, it's negative x squared, and negative x times negative 2 makes a positive 2x. Actually, this should be a plus 2x. That's a plus 2x right there. So we'll fix that. Plus 2x. We'll make it with our markers, because I've got so much on this film already. So now then, and actually I do have the right answer here. I just don't have the sign right there. Because negative 7 minus a positive 2 is negative 5x. So that's the only thing wrong there. Only that little plus sign right there while we're doing this. Okay. And then we bring down to 17. So, and what would I basically multiply that would be negative 5. And it looks like I got a little ahead of myself with some of the stuff there. And we do have a 7 left over. So that's what that answer would divide out to be. So, like I said, even teachers make mistakes. Catch that there. I do have the right answer, just have it written wrong right there. That should be a plus. Okay. And with that, we you write your answer, go like that. And here we have one, the same problem using synthetic division, only now I better erase my little mark there. Notice, if it's a minus 2, it's a plus 2. My coefficient's 1, negative 3, negative 7, 17. And you bring it, first one down. Then you take 2 times 1, get a little ahead of myself with the buttons. 2 times 1 makes 2, which I put here. Add negative 3 and 2, which is negative 1. Take 2 times negative 1, which is a 2, and I put it there. Add negative 7 and 2 is negative 5. 2 times negative 5 makes negative 10, which you add and make 7, which means you would get the same thing even using synthetic division. All right, that was synthetic division. We showed the last one kind of 2 ways, and we wish you good luck, and have Frozen 2 is the one that is out.